Hey, how I did once. I must have been alone. I always feel trying to wish I could be somebody's watch. And thoughts I always feel inspired. Trying to just not believe real thoughts. We only trying to help. Oh, I just don't know. I'm afraid to try out. Because of the flies and someone standing there. People say I'm crazy. Just about touched. And the stars inside me. I'm freaking just I always feel somebody's watching. And I know I always feel playing tricks on other stations. Well, it's the mailman. Say, but what a mess. I wonder who's watching me now. I always feel somebody's I always feel somebody's to me. It's just a dream. I always feel somebody's I always feel somebody's I always feel I always feel somebody's I always feel I always feel it's hard to think. It's an average man, an average life. Fine. Hey, how I did once. I must have been alone. But I always feel trying to wish I always feel somebody's watching. And I always feel I feel some. Tell me, is it just a dream? I got this feeling somebody's eyes. I got this feeling somebody's 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 Naveen is getting serially rugged at the moment.
Hopefully that won't be an issue too much longer.
I wonder if it's the case with others.
It was definitely the case with me for many months. It was only in the last few months when I started joining the spaces again that it had been working.
Let's give Naveen a few more minutes.
Hey Naveen, are you with us now? Still listening to the listener.
Oh, my bad. Welcome, Naveen.
Hey, how are you?
We're good.
Good.
In fact, I think we're all getting rugged here, up and down.
Yeah.
Now you are muted, it says.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hey everyone. How are you, Fox? Hey, Simon.
Doing well, doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. All right. Well, welcome to this week's edition of the Tari Show. We have a lot of wonderful things to talk about here. We might give people a couple minutes. I got rugged, so the story I make up is that maybe others got rugged too. Maybe we give people a few minutes to come in here before we dive into our agenda. In the meantime, Fox, what's new in your world?
Oh, I've just been having fun playing around with the Oodle, trying to get my tests in for my smart contract, make sure everything's working as I expect it to.
Amazing. And how's it going with the Oodle these days?
No, I've been having a good time with it. The thing I've got some desire to improve the testing documentation, so I may be looking into that soon.
That's awesome. Well, these things only improve as people actually use them. If they're not being used, then you and I both know they kind of just sit there. So really appreciate you building stuff and trying it out and experimenting with it.
Happy to.
Amazing. Okay, well we can start here with our agenda. So just a reminder for everyone who's participating today, anyone can raise their hand, come on up. No questions are off limits. Here to talk about anything and everything related to Tari. We do have some topics that I have on my list, but really this is a community space, so Really open to chatting about basically anything with you guys. So the first thing that I have on my list is, there's some new people from the community who are building really interesting things. On Tari, Bwoop posted this amazing thing called Point, which is an open source point of sale system that handles payment tracking with itemized receipts for Bitcoin and ETH and Sol and Polygon. He's working, or he or she or they are working on adding Tari support, and that's really, really, really amazing. They also posted another idea, which is a dApp concept they're calling Brownie Points, which is sort of a personal microcurrency and deed tracker that's built on the Oodle. So, and they posted a demo up on GitHub that you can go check out. So it's at dowhoop.github.io/crypto-pos-terminal. So that's really, really amazing. Honey Badger wants to form a group to build like a email-based XTM wallet. And so they're exploring that, and they've inquired about like a bounty, which obviously we will get back to them on. And there's a whole conversation about privacy and how that should work and whatnot. It's a really good conversation that's starting there. And I want to give a huge shout out to Yushan Ren, who is working on a community Tari wallet app that's been getting some buzz. That's really, really cool. Always want to give a huge shout out to our amazing Chinese community. They're paying attention and involved and publishing Tari show recaps and stuff on sort of Chinese focused rooms and chat platforms that are involved. Let's see what else is happening that's really interesting the last week. So there was a tip that was posted about the difficulty algorithm. And so want to give a huge shout out to Meow Mancer for posting about this. And their basic idea or thought is that, they want to mine and hodl XTM, but they, feel that like the difficulty algorithm is not like supportive of their efforts. It's basically too hard to mine Tari. So that's sort of a conversation that's happening in the community, which is interesting. So I know that there's been some delays in publishing a new version of Tari Universe, so I want to address that. Our dear Brian has been like just traveling a bunch, and we need to like get those out there. So we'll make some progress on that. I want to address like an important thing here, which is Tari Universe is obviously a very important part of Tari infrastructure, and we will be publishing a new release of Tari Universe here very shortly. Probably in the next call it week or two max. And just want to give a huge shout out to Brian for all of his incredible work on Tari Universe. But the real focus is on the Oodle, right? Like that's the real focus. And so that's when where most of our attention has been pointed, because that's really the growth opportunity for Tari is focusing on the Oodle. So that just so everyone understands, but we do understand it's very important to get a new version of Tari Universe out there, and that is on the docket for the next week or two. Stan has just continued making enormous progress. He published 2 new PRs focused on Genesis substates, and he's resolved some other issues related to wallet scan header retention and indexer related things, and some continuous integration fixes, other sorts of things that are related to the Oodle. And let's see. Martin's on the core team is working on some updates and improvements for the bridge. And yeah, those are like some of the key things that are on the list from sort of my end. Fox, any thoughts on those topics or any topics that are on your list?
I took a look at the exponential backoff suggestion for the mining problem that was proposed, and it looks really good to me. I just had like only a comment on like the formatting or something that was about it. Everything else made sense as far as I could understand it. So I'm excited for that improvement. I think that'll make miners' lives a lot easier. And I also am very excited to hear that we'll be getting a new update to Tari Universe. I mean, it's something I really love as a project and an application. So it's always good to see more of it.
Yeah.
I think of what else on that list. There was a lot there.
There was a lot. I know. I just steamrolled. I just kept talking. So I apologize. It's like, holy crap, that was like very overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is kind of beneath the surface. If you've been paying attention on the forums, you'll see a lot of it. But some of it's just like, if you've only been paying attention through Universe itself, you might think that nothing's happening. But in reality, it's just, hey, we got a guy on vacation, and a lot of stuff is happening in the background.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so there's some other topics that I have that I think are important to discuss. One topic that I know has popped up in the community that I think we should talk about head on is Kraken, and like just more broadly like how these exchanges work. Because Tari was on the roadmap, and now it looks like it's not on the roadmap, and people don't like kind of know what's going on behind the scenes, and how they can help close any gaps that exist. So basically, these exchanges are in the business of making money on trading fees. That's just the nature of their business. They want to support protocols that they feel are going to drive their business. There is no like charity dimension to like an exchange choosing to list a protocol or a token. And so, in the case of Alio versus Tari or like, whatever, first of all, there is no like direct competition there. Those guys are doing their own thing, which is totally fine. And I think there's room for, many winners in this game. I choose to have more of an abundance mindset than scarcity mindset with these sorts of things. But, look, we have a good, connection to the Kraken crew, and they are deciding what they're doing to the benefit of their business, like anyone does. So I think the best thing that we can do as a community is, number one, advocate for Tari. So, be very aggressive about advocating for Tari. Number two, just like help them understand the business case, like how this is going to help Kraken. So, for example, something that it could be interesting for them is them getting more integrated and involved with the forthcoming private stablecoin on Tari, right? Like that is interesting to Kraken. Those kinds of things could be interesting to Kraken, as an example. Now, I'm not here to say that it definitely is interesting to them. I'm just saying it's like all hypothetical. I think that would be interesting to like any exchange, because that is unique compared to like other things that exist out there. Some of these exchanges also really like community-led projects, right? Like Kraken, as an example, happens to be one that does. As everyone knows, they're one of the few exchanges that continue to list Monero, especially in the U.S. market. And the reason why they do that is, frankly, because Jesse at Kraken is a rock star. I mean, he is a rock star, and he is very passionate about community-led projects, especially projects that are very pro-freedom. His mindset is generally aligned with ours in terms of, pro-freedom things are really, really important. So I don't really think much of, tokens or protocols being on a roadmap, not being on a roadmap. I know it's important to the community in the sense that this is like the one thing people have to like point to. But I think the broader point is more of us collectively as a group having conversations around how this ultimately benefits them, and just like recognizing that that's really what it's all about. And so, but yeah, I mean, obviously, like, do we want Tari to be supported by more exchanges? The answer, of course we do. Like, no debate there. Yes, we do. And, we are always thinking about, ways for that to become like our collective reality. Fox, does that make sense to you?
Makes total sense to me. I believe that there's a lot that we'll be able to show Kraken and other exchanges very soon that will make them very enticed.
I agree. I agree with you completely. So really, I mean, those are like the things that I have on my list. We're kind of speed running this space a little bit, but really that's not the intention because it's a community space. So I want to open the floor. Fox, are there any topics on your list that you would love to chat about? Or, if Sergey wants to come up or other members of the community want to come up, this is a great opportunity for us to just chat about all things Tari.
Yeah, one thing that comes up on my mind right now is I'd love to know what the status is on the council appointments, mostly because we have a lot of things now. We got several tips that are in flight that are ready to be looked at and voted on and everything else. So anything we can do to start moving things forward is good.
Yeah. So that's a really so I meant to bring that up as well. So our plan right now is to formalize the council ideally within the next week, maybe a week and a half at the outside. And so let me explain to you kind of or share with you what is happening behind the scenes here with the council. So the council, I'm just going to speak for myself. From my perspective, it needs to accomplish a couple key things. Number one, it needs to be community led. So people from the community, frankly, like yourself, people like Kinkajou and others in the community who obviously care deeply about this project, ideally are the kinds of people that should be very deeply involved in the council. There's another dimension to this, which is people, think of it as like almost like people from industry or people who can help us imagine Tari as like a very, very large, magnificent thing, right? And it sometimes just takes a little time to court or get those kinds of people to like be engaged and in the right way, because we don't want tourists, right? Like we want people who care about this thing as much as like we all care about it, right? And so sometimes it takes a little bit of time to have those conversations. There's a lot of interest out there. We have some amazing people, amazing candidates out there that like are very motivated and want to see this thing be very, very successful. And so I'm working very hard behind the scenes to kind of enlist the right group of people, because I feel very strongly that this like inaugural council is very important, and we should really like be as ambitious as we possibly can be in terms of the kind of people who are participating. And so that's really like what the delay is. The delay is really focused on okay, who are the kinds of other people we want involved? How are people going to play together? How are people really going to be like working together? And ensuring that everyone is showing up and giving their all to this, And again, that doesn't mean that this is a full-time job. People have day jobs, people have many other things going on in their lives. But the time they choose to allocate to Tari should be time well spent and focused time, and time that helps us collectively move the needle and move the project forward. So that's really what is happening behind the scenes. Does that sort of resonate with you, Fox? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I just wanted to, make sure we're still moving forward there, and that we'll have it soon.
Yes, very soon. Not the turtle soon, but very soon, nonetheless. Any other thoughts or questions from your point of view?
No, but I think we are planning to move the spaces to the Discord next week, right?
We are. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are. So, yes. And then the other thing that we're working on is we're going to see if we can get Stan to actually participate in one of these spaces here in the very near future, too. I think that'll be really beneficial to the community to be able to have a direct conversation with Stan outside of Telegram. or Discord.
That would be exciting.
Yes, I agree. All right. Okan, Sergey, anybody else have any topics they'd love to chat about? I have one other thing that I'd love to share too. I am personally working on something that I am excited to share with the community in the next, call it 30 to 45 or 60 days or so. It's sort of just a new way of kind of thinking about how, Tari could integrate with more like an AI-centric product. I know that's like very vague, very, very vague. So I'll have something more to share on that front too. It's just a little side thing I've been working on kind of behind the scenes. One of my belief systems is that, if we're not dog fooding, if we're not all kind of building things on Tari, then we're not moving the project forward in the right way. So it's important for me, myself, to be building stuff on Tari too. So I'll have some things to share on that front in the near future.
I wanted to mention one thing, if I may.
Yeah.
Which is that we've had a little bit of a dry spell with the new bounties, but we are addressing that. I think it's just very difficult for contributors to focus on unearthing them without some assistance. So there have in fact been quite a lot of issues that have been piling up that should probably be turned into bounties, and we're going to focus on making sure that happens this week.
We also have a question from the YouTube asking, when will the bridge be freely accessible? I'm not really entirely sure what that means by freely accessible. Is it currently down? I think it's on, right?
I think they're referring to limits.
Ah.
Yeah. The limits on the bridge are really primarily there for security. We've seen a lot of bridge hacks happen out there, and it's been really disastrous for communities. So that's sort of the hesitation. It's like, okay, well, we remove limits for the bridge, and then if there's a problem, then like what happens? So that's really. I mean, so we're happy to talk about it. Maybe that can be a tip as well. And that's something ultimately the council should decide. The council should decide like what the risk profile is for the bridge and how we ensure that we don't end up with significant risk around the bridge. So yeah, that's the answer there. I know that's kind of a non-answer, but that's why they exist.
Considering that it's been working pretty well for a while, is there a possibility of a short-term increase in the limit?
Yeah, I think we should evaluate that together. I'm certainly open to that, of course. So we should evaluate that together. And okay, well, what should that change be? Do we double the limits or triple, or what does that mean exactly?
Double in the short term might be a good thing to show that it's moving forward.
Okay.
It's a little bit more in there.
Yeah, we can evaluate that together for sure, and I think we should as a group. Simon, let's make that something that we discuss with the inaugural council, and then I think that's really something the council should decide.
Yeah.
I was more suggesting in the short term before we have to wait for the council. But if we do with the council, we'll probably want a more specific number if we're waiting that long. Figure out more specific details at that point.
Yeah, I'm open to doing it, but before the council exists too. I just really want to make sure that as the project moves towards this idea of it being genuinely community led, we're kind of moving decision making into this sort of council format. But I also don't want to belabor things, to your point. So yeah, sure, we can evaluate. Tari Labs can evaluate a shorter term shift to the limits. So Simon, we can talk about that.
Yeah, we can
tomorrow.
use the tip. We can use the tip system. We don't have to wait for the council to use tips to make decisions.
Yeah,
you can start making the tip now, and then we can.
Yeah,
you can do a short term bump, and then we can decide a long term as the council's coming in.
Yeah. So Simon, why don't we do that? Let's just publish a tip to like double the limits, and then
Okay.
we can get people's feedback on that.
Will do.
Cool. Any other questions from anyone?
If I may, I had a question.
Please.
Yeah, so hey everyone, been away for a few weeks traveling. Lovely to catch up with you all again. I wanted to know, so given all the recent progress, do we have perhaps a rough guideline on when we could accept UTIL? Like, I don't need a specific date, but I'm confident it's going to be this year, but like a quarter, a month, like any sort of new guidance.
Yeah, so good question. So, I mean, definitely this year. I mean, that would be, to me, kind of outlandish for it not to be. Something disastrous would have to happen for us to, shift that much further out. But I think the real conversation we're having is what are the things that need to be true for the launch of the Oodle to be as impactful as possible. And so, for example, as everyone knows, the issuer of the Tari stablecoin is this amazing company called Braille. They're fantastic. We love them. They're like superstars. Well, do we want this stablecoin to be in existence around the launch, or very soon thereafter? Or do we want to launch the Oodle knowing that the stablecoin is maybe a little bit out, not like a year out or anything. Like maybe it's like measured in months. And so those are the kinds of things that we're evaluating. Is more of just making sure that we just put our best foot forward as a group with the launch. And but look, that's like also subject to the community's perspective and feedback. Some people might go, Naveen, waiting is dumb. Get it out there as fast as possible. Who cares? Damn the torpedoes. Okay, that's an opinion. That's a perspective. Some other people might be like, no, Naveen, we really should have like the stable coin for sure should exist before we pull the trigger. So that's really kind of the decisions that we're exploring behind the scenes.
I can definitely say that for the projects I'm focusing on, having a stablecoin available would be a major improvement for what I'm trying to do. And I would think that for a lot of people using, L2 contracts, having a stablecoin available on the network immediately would be very helpful. I don't know how long it would take to make the stablecoin, though, or what kind of resources we're expecting that to take, or what timeline it would take to implement it.
Well, the work is in progress now.
You seem to have gotten muted again.
Sorry. Fat fingered. Yeah, I think that it's the work is underway, right? Like so, Braille team has been engaged with Tari contributors behind the scenes. Like that's happening. So it's not like it's like, oh, they've not started or something. So we should have a better idea on like general timeline over the next several weeks. And then I think that also just becomes the decision for the council. Like, okay, well, is maybe there's something else. Like maybe someone on the council has a different idea. I'm like, oh, okay, well, the stablecoin is going to happen, and that's great. But hey, I have another idea on how we can launch the Oodle and have it, make a splash and an impact in this really sort of interesting way. It doesn't have to be the stablecoin, to be clear. Like that's just the current best idea. But that doesn't mean that it's the like ultimate idea. So I think that's something we just need to, brainstorm about, and I'll spend some more time thinking about that as well.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Great question. Any other topics? I sometimes feel like an auctioneer, going once, going twice.
Yeah, this is not a question, but I was at Monericon earlier last week and got to see a bunch of cool projects shipping. I think there's a good chance some of like all the top projects you mentioned, like we could collectively attend maybe next year or the year after and just kind of show those folks, hey, what are we building? What are we going up to? So just something to keep in mind.
I agree with you. Yeah, I was sad to miss MoneroCon this year. I'm going to try to go next year. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely. Like, we should get in touch with those builders, show them the kind of stuff we're doing, and capture their passion, and point them in the Tari direction for sure. So anyone you met there you think we should talk to, just hit me up. I'm happy to reach out to them, or you can reach out to them. We can all reach out to them. Cool. Well, if there aren't any other topics at this moment, then we can end the space a little early, and then we'll pick things up again next week. At the same time, same location. Well, different location.
But
Next
no,
week,
different location.
different
yeah.
location. We're gonna do it on Discord next week, which will be great. So very excited for everyone to participate there and see how that works for us as a community. In the meantime, continuing to work on Oodle. We'll definitely work towards getting a new version of Tar Universe out there, and just keep moving this thing forward on all fronts. Thank you, Fox. Thank you, Ocon. Thank you, Simon, for participating today. Love you guys. Appreciate you greatly, and looking forward to making magic happen with you and the rest of the community. And we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Structures of sound. The story I tell, everywhere. See what's at stake.